rosy, a pocket full of roses.
Your EMF is going on. I smell lilacs.
Do you?
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
What's that? What's the matter?
If you want to touch our hands, Linda, please light it up for yes. You caught that on camera, right, Steve?
You bet.
There's someone out there. I just saw that. So did I.
Told me to get out, and my head started pounding, everything started spinning.
Did you hear that? Those movements on me.
Something just grabbed my leg.
Please don't touch me.
York Redoubt is a National Historic Site located high on a bluff overlooking the entrance to the Halifax Harbour in Nova Scotia, Canada. The original batteries were built in 1793 during the outbreak of war between Britain and Revolutionary France. When French warships were reported in the Western Atlantic, harbour batteries were hastily erected to secure Halifax from attack by sea. During the First World War, the site was used as barracks for assigned infantry and for troops waiting to go overseas. Between 1940 and 1942, the Fire Command Post for harbour defences was built. Early in the Second World War, York Redoubt was the nerve centre for harbour defences, including an anti-submarine net which stretched across the harbour's entrance from Redoubt to McNabb's Island. The fort remained in military use until 1956. Staff and visitors to the fort have reported seeing apparitions, hearing voices and footsteps, and feeling a foreboding presence in the shoreline structures. Perhaps the fort still remains home to some of its past military inhabitants, or maybe the walls of the fort have become a safe haven to some of the victims of other nearby disasters. LWPI has investigated York Redoubt on several different occasions, and we've found it to be one of the most active areas in Halifax. The following video contains excerpts from some of our past investigations. In October of 2010, LWPI members investigated 3 structures in the lower area of York Redoubt. Unified Field radio host Justin Brown joined us on this investigation. Justin listened to and recorded the entire investigation using a sound-amplifying voice recorder and headset. Unfortunately, we lost all of our video footage from this investigation, but we have put together some of the marked EVPs that were captured that night. Spontaneous, unexplained cold spots can often be an indication of spirit activity. However, spirits also have the ability to create a sudden, unexplained rise in temperature as well. During our investigation of the York Shore Battery, Justin Brown had such an experience. It wasn't until audio review that we were able to confirm what he had felt. We were all standing in a large empty room in the front portion of the York Shore Battery. I thought that I was hearing voices, and I mention it, but at the same time suggest that it might just be the waves. The EVP starts right after that, and you'll hear Justin react to the sudden change in temperature around him.
I don't know if it's the sound of the waves I'm hearing on this.
I'm burning up over here, you guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the sound of the waves I'm hearing on this.
I'm burning up over here, you guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the sound of the waves I'm hearing on this.
I'm burning up over here, you guys.
Yeah.
The wave of heat that Justin experienced was so intense that it had him unzipping and pulling his jacket open on a cool October evening. While we do not know of any historical accounts of fires at the York Shore Battery itself, the Halifax Harbour is the site of the world's second largest man-made explosion. On December 6, 1917, a French ship, the Mont Blanc, left her anchorage outside the mouth of the harbour to join a convoy in the Bedford Basin. She was loaded with 2,300 tons of wet and dry picric acid, 200 tons of TNT, 10 tons of gun cotton, and 35 tons of benzol. A Norwegian vessel, the Emo, was leaving the basin bound for New York, when after a series of ill-judged maneuvers, she struck the Mont Blanc on the bow. Although the collision itself was not severe, fire immediately broke out on board the Mont Blanc. The captain, pilot, and crew immediately launched lifeboats and took refuge on the Dartmouth shore. Spectators on the Halifax side, unaware that the burning ship was carrying explosives, gathered to watch the fire. The ship burned for 20 minutes, drifting until it finally rested against Pier 6. Just before 9:05 a.m., the Mont Blanc exploded, killing over 1,900 people and flattening all of North End Halifax. It is the second largest man-made explosion to date. The captain, pilot, and 5 Emo crew members were killed in the explosion, while all but one from the Mont Blanc survived. Traumatic events such as this can leave an imprint. Could the warning we heard in our audio have been from one of the lost souls from the Halifax explosion?
I don't know if it's the sound of the waves I'm hearing or it's
Burning up over here, you guys.
Yeah.
The next EVP was caught in our second location, a small 2-room bunker just off of the main trail near the water. I thought that I could hear whispered voices asking me to talk to them, and I say so out loud. The following EVP was caught on our audio right afterwards.
I just wonder if someone's going to talk to me twice.
Whenever we investigate a location, we always start out by introducing ourselves and asking if there is anyone there who would like to communicate with us. Sometimes we are able to capture EVPs of spirits addressing us by name. In the beginning of this clip, 2 of our investigators can be heard attempting to communicate with a spirit. Just then, I feel like someone has taken me by the elbow with an ice-cold hand. This is what was caught on audio.
Okay.
Feels like there's an ice cube on my nose.
If you're male,
We had 2 female guests along with us on this investigation. One of the women kept hearing a man's voice when we were investigating the York Shore Battery. She also experienced a touch to the elbow, like someone was taking her by the arm. These experiences were new to her, and she wasn't entirely comfortable with what she was hearing and feeling. When we arrived at the 2-room bunker, she decided to stick with the camera person and stand with her back to the wall. She thought that maybe she'd be safe from having any more experiences, but have a listen to what happened next.
What?
I just heard him again.
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 You can tell by her reaction that she was pretty shaken up. She decided to leave the investigation before we went on to our 3rd location. LWPI encounters a lot of spirits during our investigations. However, not all of them are happy to have us in their space. This EVP was caught in our 3rd location, a small cave-like defense structure just off of the main trail. We were getting a lot of hits on our EMF meter, so we had asked the spirit to please back away so we could instruct him on how to use the meter to communicate with us. This was the response that we got.
Step away. Take 2 steps back, please, David.
Just for a second.
Calm down.
Just calm down. We know you're excited.
Just as I asked if there was someone in the cave that wanted our help, I thought I noticed the lights on my EMF flicker. The following EVP was caught on audio.
We just want to help you. Do you want our help? Did that just go orange for a second?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Do you want our help?
Whenever we encounter spirits on an investigation, we always try to convince them to cross over to the light and to move on from the area where they have remained since their death. We can't make them go, they do have free will, but we will do everything we can to help them leave if they want to. The following EVP was caught on our audio after one such conversation. Although most investigations are conducted late at night in complete darkness, apparitions, phantom footsteps, voices, and other paranormal phenomena can occur at any time of the day. A couple of days after our first investigation of York Redoubt, I returned in the afternoon with my 9-year-old daughter. While we were in the cave-like defense structure, I began leading her to the back of the flooded cave. With each step, I would indicate which rocks were safe to step on to stay dry. In the following clip, you can hear a female voice asking us not to proceed.
Do you want me to go first and show you? That's okay. That's okay.
We only ventured about halfway down the back hall before I got the sense that we weren't really welcome. Since I try to respect their space whenever possible, instead of going any further, I asked my daughter if she'd like to go back out to the front room to take photos. This suggestion wasn't very well received either.
Do you want to take a couple shots in here in the other room with your camera?
Like this. Like this. Like this. Like this. Like this.
While I was in the cave with my daughter, I could hear whispering all around us. The following EVP was caught while we were exiting the cave. Apparently, someone felt we'd heard enough for one day. My daughter had just found some cool rocks, so you'll hear the EVP, and then she starts to talk.
Maybe I can print them off and show them to my teacher of life nature.
They call themselves the Light Workers.
Mommy, promise.
We're all around you. Get out.
Don't be scared. Take my hand.
Hi, I'm Kimberly, and this is Lightworkers Paranormal Investigation. This video is going to be a little different from the other LWPI videos you may have watched. Normally I introduce clips with on-screen descriptions, but since I'm only going to present one EVP, and because there is a story behind its discovery, I'm going to try and narrate this time. The EVP we are going to present was caught during a mini investigation Megan and I did at York Redoubt back at the beginning of February. But my story actually begins a week prior to that. At the end of January, I attended a talk given by author Julie Lambert. Julie has written 2 books on angelic communication, Angels Carry Umbrellas and Hand Me That Umbrella. In her books, she shares a very fascinating journey on how she learned to communicate with her guardian angels. Her books also contain stories people have submitted about their guardian angel experiences. At the end of her presentation, Julie mentioned she would be giving a workshop on angelic communication the following weekend, and I was quick to sign up for it. Now, anyone who knows me knows that the whole concept of guardian angels is not new to me. I've always believed in their existence, and I often ask them for signs and guidance when I need help. If you've ever watched any of our investigation videos, you would also know that I'm sometimes able to hear spirits during our investigations. Most of the time it is just distant whispering, but the occasional word comes through clearly every once in a while. I'm not psychic or a medium. My best explanation is that I have developed a very fine-tuned sense of hearing from listening to EVPs all the time. My team actually refers to it as my Vulcan hearing. One of the main reasons I attended Julie's workshop on angelic communication was because I was hoping that the same methods used to communicate with guardian angels could also be applied to spirits as well. Although being able to hear the whispers comes in handy when we were on our investigations, it's always bothered me that I'm not able to hear exactly what they are saying when they are saying it. Immediately after attending Julie's workshop, I rushed home to pick up my gear because Megan and I had planned to check out York Redoubt again. The whole team had visited there back in October, and it was a pretty active location. Because there were only 2 of us and coyote sightings were a concern, the only location we ended up investigating that night was a cave-like defense structure just off the main trail. Megan left her recorder running in the main entranceway, and then we both moved to the back of the cave to do some EVP work. I've been able to line up both of our audios precisely for comparison. Just before the EVP was captured on Megan's recorder, my phone received an email and the message alert sounded. I was able to line up the message alert in her audio and my audio to the exact same moment. The talking you are going to hear isn't either one of us, and it wasn't captured on my audio recorder. The first thing you will hear is an exchange between a woman and a man, but I've been unable to decipher it conclusively. I've labeled them woman speaks and man responds. The EVP that brought tears to my eyes during audio review was caught immediately afterwards. I believe the woman speaking is a guardian angel, and she is trying to help a spirit that is trapped at that location. She speaks first, offering her hand, then a younger female voice asks, "Are you his angel?" which leads me to believe that she was addressing a male spirit. I've listened to the clip repeatedly through noise-canceling earbuds, and I have marked what I've been able to decipher. You may not make out everything that is being said as the woman's voice trails off, but it's been marked and looped several times to make it easier. If you own earbuds or headphones, I suggest wearing them as you will be able to hear the clip better. Listen closely. Only the deciphered section of audio looped 4 times. While we understand that not everyone believes in the existence of angels or their place in the field of paranormal research, my own personal experiences have solidified my belief that they accompany us and protect us from some of the darker entities that we may encounter on our investigations. Could have sworn someone just touched my hand.
Which one?
This one. But if someone touched my hand, could you touch it again? You should have seen the look on your face.
That's not cool.
Although Megan and I both laughed, thinking it's just a well-timed icicle falling, during audio review, I noticed something taps my audio recorder just before the icicle falls. If someone touched my hand, could you touch it again? You should have seen the look on your face.
That's not cool.
If someone touched my hand, could you touch it again? If someone touched my hand, could you touch it again? If someone touched my hand, could you touch it again? I can hear somebody talking in the back end of the tunnel.
Do you want to go down there?
Yeah, should we?
Yeah,
Should we go back?
because that's where I actually heard.
You know what? Maybe
heard the woman's
I should take
voice.
my IR light out just to see if we can get a little brighter in here.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to stop this. Just after we stopped the camera to mount the IR light, I heard this voice and it was caught on our audio. Okay, so I'm going to stop this.
And then I'll film you down there. Because you're the one who's hearing things. I'm just kind of standing there with like an ear.
Alright.
Did you hear something?
Yes, I did. While we often hear the noises that spirits make to get their voices out, the words are often buried deep within the background noise and only deciphered during audio review. As we walk to the back of the cave, a male voice is picked up on our audio. Although the only two words I can make out are Kimberly and okay, I can hear indecipherable talking going on in the background before that. Shall we go back in there?
If you want to. I don't know how hearing the drips.
Oh, wait. Did you just say something? Did you hear that?
No.
I thought I heard a woman's voice coming from the back of the cave. Although I can't make out what is being said, my audio recorder did pick up a faint female voice. Listen closely for the voice between the drips of water. We also picked up the following EVP. Even when you can't physically see spirits, you can sense them. We are all born with a sixth sense, although most of us dismiss it as paranoia. Just as I'm pointing the camera down the back of the hall, I sense someone coming up from behind me. Although we didn't pick up anything on our night vision camera, the feeling of someone approaching us from behind was unmistakable.
Do you feel uncomfortable with us being here?
Could have sworn I heard something behind us.
LWPI returned to York Redoubt with the whole team 2 weeks later. If our personality survives, then it is strictly logical or scientific to assume that it retains memory, intellect, other faculties and knowledge that we acquire on this earth. Therefore, if we can evolve an instrument so delicate as to be affected by our personality as it survives in the next life, such an instrument, when made available, ought to record something. Thomas Edison. Almost 40 years after Edison made that statement, Fredrik Jørgensen, a Swedish filmmaker, discovered that such a device did exist. In 1959, he started to study the tiny voices that he captured in the recordings he was making. When he realized that they were the voices of the dead, the field of EVP, electronic voice phenomena, was born. EVPs are voices or speech recorded in audio but not heard with a human ear during recording. EVPs can be interactive. An investigator may ask a question, leaving a pause in the conversation in which a spirit voice is recorded answering. EVPs can also be random messages or talking between spirits, but they always contain speech. RAEs, residual audio effect, are noises that are captured in audio but not heard with a human ear at the time of recording. RAEs contain residual noise instead of speech. A perfect example of an RAE would be an audio clip of a gunshot, such as those that have been recorded on the battlefields of Gettysburg. While no gunshots were heard at the time of recording, they did get picked up in the audio track. EVPs have 4 different classifications or categories. Class A, crystal clear. Anyone listening to the recording hears exactly the same thing without being told what is being said. Class B, audible but not very clear. Needs to be listened to several times in order to understand what is being said. Class C, not very audible, a whispered message. Class R is when an EVP has a reverse meaning or a mirror effect. It could be a Class A, B, or C recording, and then when played in reverse, it has a completely different quality and message. Every EVP should be played in reverse to check for a Class R EVP.